In the age of reboots, remakes, prequels and sequels, perhaps no upcoming film epitomizes Hollywood's obsession with nostalgia and reliving the glory days more than The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, Peter Jackson's live-action return to Middle-earth in 2027. And we now know the official cast for the films. Andy Serkis will be directing the film and starring as Gollum. We've known this for many, many months. And we know the film will delve into Smeagol's backstory, which isn't exactly the most exciting pitch for the next Middle-earth movie. Jackson mentioned that if they ever done a 4th film, The Hunt for Gollum would be his number 1 choice, so I suppose that is a factor. And I suppose it could make for some decent character work, but I'm still struggling to get invested into this film, a feeling I know many folks share, as well as being set in the past 500 years ago when Smeagol kills Deagle and takes the ring. The film will also be set during the period between Bilbo's birthday party and Frodo leaving the Shire. During this time, Gandalf researches the One Ring and tasks Aragorn to find Gollum before the enemy does. Unfortunately, it's too little too late, as Gollum has already been captured and taken to Barad-dûr, and now Sauron knows the words, Shire and Baggins. We also have official confirmation of what Ian McKellen has been telling us for months. He will return as Gandalf, as will Elijah Wood as Frodo Baggins. Gandalf will likely be a sizable role, whereas Frodo could be seen as nothing more than a glorified cameo, similar to The Hobbit, where he was used to bridge the film into Fellowship of the Ring. And I have heard they may use the conversation between Gandalf and Frodo in Moria, where they talk about Gollum, to set up the flashback, where Gandalf explains where Gollum came from and how he sent Aragorn to find him. Guys, basically the source material for this 2.5 hour movie comes from a few lines in the books, and I know that has many fans worried. Gandalf will question Gollum in Mirkwood, and I suppose this will be used to reinforce Frodo's decision to show Gollum pity. These two are the big returning players from Lord of the Rings, so expect them to be all over the marketing, but unsurprisingly, they won't be the only ones to reprise their roles. Lee Pace will return as Thranduil, Legolas's father and the king of the Wood Elves of Mirkwood. Thranduil was one of the better parts of the Hobbit movies. He might even take home the award for most elven-looking character in the franchise. It's honestly a straight shootout between him and Cate Blanchett as Galadriel. And as I said, Mirkwood is where Gandalf questions Gollum, so Thranduil returning isn't surprising. However, what about his son? What about Legolas? Orlando Bloom says he wanted to return, and he talked about using de-aging tech to make him look younger. But his name is not on the bill, but I don't think that means we should rule him out. I would not be surprised if Legolas is present during Gollum's interrogation or the orc attack that follows that allows Gollum to escape. And of course, Legolas is sent to Rivendell by his father to share news on Gollum's escape, so I fully expect him to show up in some fashion. Someone who will not return is Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn, and we've known for some time the role of Strider will be recast, and we now have official confirmation that Jamie Dornan of 50 Shades fame will take over the role. But Viggo was given the chance to return, but it looks like he turned it down. They would have used de-aging tech to make him look younger, and he said he wanted to take a look at the script before signing on. But obviously he's passed on it, so take that however you want. Dornan has massive shoes to fill. He for sure has the look and the acting chops, but to replace Viggo is a tough task, almost impossible. Viggo put everything into bringing Aragorn to life, and his take on the character has become the blueprint for many heroes within the fantasy genre. All I'll say is good luck to the man. And there was a report of Anya Taylor-Joy being up for a role, with Arwen being the number one rumour. Maybe she hasn't signed on yet, maybe talks fell through, or maybe they're saving her and other names for a second wave announcement. But obviously because they've recast Aragorn, they have to recast Arwen, so I don't think Liv Tyler will be back. Leo Woodall will play the Ranger Halvard, who is a brand new character. He will be a ranger who joins Aragorn on the hunt for Gollum. Guys, I have no idea why they didn't just use the character of Halbarad, who is from the books, who joins Aragorn and the Grey Company on the Pelennor Fields. And of course, the creation of new characters is a very divisive one and can go either way. Finally, we have Kate Winslet as Marigold, who has to be Smeagol's grandmother, the leader of the Stir Hobbit group, who is mentioned in the books. Her name is original, but Gollum does tell Gandalf about her, and I'm guessing all of Gollum's backstory will come from when Gandalf questions him. And maybe he tells Aragorn some details on the road from the Dead Marshes, where he finds him, to Mirkwood, where he delivers him to Gandalf. Overall, it's a solid cast. Lee Pace alone will get people talking, and I am interested to see who else will show up, but I still have major doubts about this film. Out of all the tales in Tolkien's Legendarium, The Hunt for Gollum isn't exactly the most exciting sell, but I guess they want a film that is close enough to the trilogy to feature familiar faces and stories. That, and they only have the rights to the free Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit. I've been very vocal in my preference of them just leaving Tolkien alone, just honouring the legacy of the films with re-releases on anniversaries, deleted scenes being finally given to us, cool merch, and an actual physical tour where you can go and see all the sets and props that brought the magic to life. But I guess they have to retain the license somehow. I believe Warner Brothers have to keep making movies every so many years to retain the rights to Lord of the Rings. If they don't, it goes back to the license holder and they can give it to someone else. And obviously, Lord of the Rings has made a lot of money and continues to make a lot of money through video games, through merch, and just re-releasing the extended versions in the cinema. And I suppose they think a quick $200 million movie could make $1 billion. But obviously, cinema is not in the same place right now. Box office is an all-time low. And even Lord of the Rings is not guaranteed to make mega money. And as of right now, it will be going up against Avengers Secret Wars, which probably will change. I don't know if they'll get that movie out on time. But right now, it's going up against the biggest movie of all time in terms of budget. And even though Marvel kind of sucks right now and their box office is at an all-time low, it's still the Avengers. But right now, I feel this movie will come out on the 17th of December 2027, and the Avengers will probably move. But it does kind of feel like a Warner Brothers cash grab, but at the same time, I feel the cast and the filmmakers' hearts are in the right place, so I'll be there opening night. It would be very hypocritical of me just to write this off now, but I still have my doubts, especially after The Hobbit and The War of the Rohirrim. And I believe the people that wrote War of the Rohirrim are writing this film, so that can be seen as a red flag. And of course, the less that is said about Amazon's Rings of Power, the better. Let's not forget, this isn't 1997 anymore. Hollywood is a very different environment. Lord of the Rings was a filmmaking achievement, and I am unsure if it will ever be replicated. But I have my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for the best, whilst preparing for the worst. But guys, let me know your thoughts on the cast for Hunt for Gollum. How do you feel about Aragorn being recast? And who else do you think will show up? Personally, I would like to see Elrond's twin sons, Elladan and Elrohir, who never made it to the film. They were cut from Return of the King. So I feel this would be the perfect opportunity for them to make an appearance. But only time will tell. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.